See
There
you.
you
Hi, how are
are.
you?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Awesome. I'm a little bit sneezy today. I seem to have like some allergic something going on. So if you see me hitting mute or whatever many times or Kleenexes, just don't worry about it.
Totally
Everything's good.
fair. So, is that you think a result of your world traveling and being in all the airports and airplanes and stuff?
Probably just, like we got back on Saturday and although like it seems like it's what? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it's 3 days. It's still it takes me a while to catch up. It really
Yeah.
takes me a while to catch up sometimes. So, we'll see. I think that I'm just tired. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Just worn down. So, where did you go? Tell us about your trip. I'm
oh,
so
okay.
excited.
So Florian, my husband, he is from Germany. And so he stayed with at his mother's for a
Cool.
couple of days. And then we went to a place called Mariazell. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's in the Austrian Alps, and
Cool.
it's the third most visited pilgrimage site for Catholics. Right? There's Lourdes, there's Santiago de Compostela, and then there's this place Mariazell, which I had never heard of.
Wow.
And that
Cool.
was really awesome. And then we went to Salzburg, and then we went to Bressanone, which is in the Italian South Tyrol,
Cool.
Dolomites, around the Dolomites. And then we went back up to his parents and then came home.
That's
So
quite a trip.
it was quite a trip.
What is your takeaway? Like, was there a moment of, wow, this is what I'm doing here? Or I'm sure there's a lot of moments of wow, but
There were like mostly, I think my biggest takeaway was I'm just so lucky that I get to do this, right? Even though, like, I'm going to admit sometimes it's not easy to be at his parents' house, his mom's house.
Sure.
There's not always things going like super
Sure.
well. But I still felt really, really lucky. I felt like, okay, even though my German, I'm working on it. It's getting better. It really is getting better. But I feel like I have a long way to go. And I still felt like, you know what, I'm lucky that I have this opportunity to even try to speak this other language, that I'm even in this place and enjoying what I'm enjoying. And so like that was sort of the thing that I kept like sort of pinching myself. I'm like, wow, I really am lucky to be here. This is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and what I love, and I think it's something that we talk about so often in these conversations where we're having live conversations about tarot, and joy,
Yeah.
right? But it's that we can be two things at once. We can be so grateful and blessed and honoring that, and it also not be always smooth and easy,
Yeah.
right? But it's
Yeah.
sometimes we have to look at what's more important, right? Like you could come back and be like, oh, I had to be with my mother-in-law and it was stressful, but oh, by the way, I saw this great beautiful world of ours. But it's you're coming at it from the different perspective, and I think that's so important
Yeah.
because we can't overlook what we're doing, the big picture and why, for the small disruptions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And,
Because
and it also, like, I felt the cycle of, okay, things were really challenging for a little bit. And I was like, okay, just keep going and do the best you can and see if you can pull yourself together as best you can. And then I started like really calming down, and then things started going better again.
I
And
love
things,
it.
things went in that sort of circle. I'm like, you know what? Like if I pay attention, I really notice these things being true. They're not like
Hmm.
I
And that's, yeah.
this is it because I recognize it.
And that's the thing, right? Recognizing where you are, the season, the day, whatever, because none of it lasts,
Yeah.
right? It's always changing and moving. And the good things, they kind of change, and the bad things, they kind of change. And
Yeah.
it's just paying attention to what's happening in this
Yeah.
moment. Um, so, what's on your mind today?
Well, you
Anything
know
kind of,
what? I wanted to ask you about this thing you're doing on Friday, because I wanted to get more clarity about what it was so I can talk to more
oh, I'm
people
so
about what you do.
excited. I was connected with our local, the Hunterdon County Chamber of Commerce,
Uh-huh.
and they've got this beautiful new center that they built before COVID, the Unity Bank Center for Business and Entrepreneurship, which is just a beautiful meeting space,
Uh-huh.
very dynamic. It's got a podcast studio, set up for all the hybrid, virtual, everything.
Nice.
But with COVID, right, they lost their focus on getting people in. So now they're trying to pull in presenters and groups and resources. So I'm really grateful I have an opportunity to host a 2.5-hour workshop, interactive hybrid workshop on overcoming overwhelm. And we chose this topic because it's not, people are experiencing it, but not always talking about it. And my thing, right, is let's pull you in, let's figure out what you're tolerating, let's sort it out and move forward so that you can enjoy your life a little bit differently. So on Friday, we're going to do some networking. There's going to be some interactive, you know, I'm a teacher, right?
Yes.
So we're going to be having a little bit of a lesson plan, if you will.
Yeah.
But I'm looking for high achievers, right? And I think that's all of us, but the people who want more, but are kind of held back on this, I don't have enough time, or I could never fit that in kind of mindset. So I'm really excited about it. And, you know, this is my favorite. The people who have said to me, and I think as a coach, you can understand this, where they're like, Michaela, I can't attend. I'm way too busy for that. Right?
Exactly.
And I go, I keep going to this thing I've said probably too many times in my life, but they say, if you have time to meditate, give yourself 15 minutes. If you don't have time to meditate, give yourself an hour. And if you cannot figure that out, you got to come to my workshop. Okay? Because if we're not taking care of our vehicle, our mind, body, soul, what are we doing? What is our productivity? What is our output? What's the return on the investment of our time and energy? And I see so many people that I love and care for just struggling to get through the day, right? And I know that. Been there, done that. I got the t-shirt. It's hanging up in my closet, you know, it's a friendly reminder. But I don't want to see people struggling through overwhelm. Let's take a look at what's really happening, what's really important to you. What are you saying yes to? What are you saying no to? And how do you find a balance where little by little, 1% over time, right, make the big impact?
Exactly.
Because as you know, it happier, healthier people is what's going to shift the energy of our world today. So that's what I'm doing. And in a perfect world, it's going to be a huge hit and a huge success. And I'm going to do a whole lot more of them. That's what's happening. That's awesome. The plan.
That's awesome. You know, by the way, it doesn't matter how many people show up, right? It's still going to be a huge success. It's just, you just do it and you enjoy it and you love doing it. And then it goes from there. You know, like I've had things that started with like 2 people and then suddenly, boom, they like, because I just said, well, there are 2 people. These are the 2 people here, the 2 people who are ready for it right now.
And that's where, and I'll be, you know, full, honest, vulnerable disclosure. That's one of the things my coach and I have been working through, because I'm like, I got to get people, and she's like, hold on, you got to get the right people, right? Like, so don't just expect everyone in your network to show up, because you want the people who are showing up and ready and want it. And whatever message I deliver is what they need that day. That's the mindset I have to believe, because otherwise, you know, I'm not one for counting numbers. I don't want to count people as success. I want to count the value and the outcome. You know? So, I mean, to me, I know it's going to be a success, because I'm going to show up, I'm going to give my best. And I've invited the people I think it's most appropriate for. They've invited their people. And that's it. That's all I can do. That's it. I'm going to bring my gift. I'm going to bring my heart and soul. And I'm going to help people overcome overwhelm.
And then just enjoy it. Enjoy what you're doing, because that's the thing. That's the thing that's important. Everything else, people will come, they will show up, they'll go away. But the more we get connected with the things that bring us joy, right? And this is you know, a daily thing. This isn't just this brings me joy. Now don't ever have to think about it. Right now, this is like a daily connection of, okay, what's the thing today? How do I go through today? How do I bring myself in this, you know, through the maze today, and stay with myself today, so that I'm still in a good place, even though my nose is running and I can't breathe every once in a while. Well, that's all right. You know, how do I come back to that? And that's really like, that's the key to it. Everything else comes off of that. You know, that, you know, so
that's it. And
you know,
I know what I'm doing, and I know why. I know the intention I'm going to put behind it. And that to me is, you know, 80% ready, right? Good enough. And anything I get beyond that, where people you know, if people show up in abundance, great. But if it's a smaller number, I'm going to see that as abundant because they're there and they're ready and they want it. And I'm going to give it to them. I'm going to give them all I got.
Yep.
That's it.
The thing to do.
That's it.
That's awesome.
I get to teach my heart out. That was one of, like, when I would be in my classroom as a high school teacher, the best days were when I could just go in and teach my heart out.
Nice.
And that's the feeling I'm going for, where I leave it all on the table.
Yep. That's awesome.
You know?
That's so awesome.
So thank you for asking. I appreciate it. It's,
oh yeah.
I can totally, and maybe we can tie this into our conversation today, but I can admit, you know, it's a new thing.
Yeah.
Not necessarily presenting or workshops, but this venue with this audience, it's a new thing. And it feels, I'm hesitating to say like I'm nervous, right? Because that says that there's a connotation to that, but I am, right? But I also say that's excitement.
Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh, something's happening. Something new is coming, right? Something.
Yeah, and
whatever it is.
And it's okay. I'm trying. It's funny because as I'm preparing for this, I felt that feeling of overwhelm coming up, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. But so it's been the thing I need, right? To remember, don't get into overwhelm. Don't in the planning and the organizing and just. That's what we're doing. Exactly. So I'm really excited. Awesome. And I feel grateful, just like you. Like I feel grateful for the opportunity to show up with my gift and leave it on the table.
Yeah.
So yay.
Exactly, because you never know what's happening next. You never know where it's leading, and if it feels that good, it feels that right, you know that it's the right step. That's that's it. What you're looking for in your life, right?
Yes. Thank you. So I appreciate that little coaching session. So I was also thinking, I always try to come up with a thing before we jump on these calls. And one of the things that is on my mind, because we're in back to school and, everything is different this year than last year. My oldest is going to a different school on a different schedule. And for me, one of the things I'm struggling with is what is my schedule, right? Like my mornings have been sacred, right? I do my routine, I do my exercise, and I'm ready, and then I get the people up. So now that's different, and I'm learning to adjust into the new dynamic while keeping the important parts of the old way that worked for me, understanding I have to change how I do it, right? So it's all the new things. And I guess what I'm asking is, I'm looking today, maybe how to, the perspective to integrate those things, or how do I still adjust to the new space that I have and get all the things I want to do in the morning, for example, and keep myself and keep the promises and the agreements I have with my family. And my guess is there's a lot of people out there today, for us here in the Northeast, a week into back to school. So I just figured I'd put that out there. We don't have to start there, but I wanted to tie that in. Because I could use some perspective. All right. And I mean, it's going well and everything is fine, but I haven't exercised as many times as I wanted to right out the gates. There's been some just shifts. So I'll leave that there.
Okay. All right. Well, give me a number, and we'll so 1 to 22, and we'll pick one, and we'll see where it starts us for today.
Well, my first thought is almost always number 13.
Okay.
So let's start there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10.
I don't believe in the unlucky 13. I think it's the lucky.
In Italy, 13 is lucky. 17 is unlucky.
See, perspective is funny, right?
All right. Isn't it funny? And all different cultures. Don't go anywhere, and whatever you think is fabulous, they're going to hate, and whatever you think is horrible, they're going to love.
Think about the things that we do. I mean, some buildings don't have a 13th floor.
Yeah, right.
And just think of how far the mindset, the belief, the idea that we've created is influencing the way that we live. Oh my gosh.
And we built a whole building
around
20-something floors, really, around the fact that 13 is you don't want to get off of the 13th floor. All right, well, we have 13 here, and 13 here is the Wheel of Fortune, right? And that has to do with the fact that, and it was just, you said it, quite honestly, you said it. You said it's change. It's a new thing. Everything is constantly changing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you always, always get a challenge and an opportunity together, right? You never,
when you know they're there and can look for them, right?
yeah, well, they're always there. It's just whether or not we're looking at it.
Right, because if they're always there, but I then go through life with my blinders on and I'm only looking for the negative, the bad part of the change,
Exactly.
the perceived bad part. Okay.
Exactly.
Interesting.
There might be something fabulous about this change. This is an opportunity now. What is the opportunity? It can be anything, right? The challenge is figuring out how to bring these things together. But the opportunity could be that you might have to find another place to go, or you might have to find a different type of exercise or a different thing. And that might be something new that you would not have otherwise done. That is going to bring you something. You don't know what it's going to bring you.
So go ahead, keep going. Or what?
Or it could be, the opportunity could be as simple as coming to peace with the fact that you can't control how things are going, coming to peace with the fact that you can't control the outcomes, even though you want to, and you think from the past that by doing A, you're going to get to B, but maybe that's not always true anyway. It just happened to be that way for this time. And maybe it's time for you to find a different way without trying to get to a certain place, instead focusing on just doing A. What's the thing?
Great. Okay. So here's my revelation. And when I was presenting my situation, I said, the promises, no, the agreements I made with my family. And when I saw the Wheel of Fortune, that's, the thing that the game show came to my mind.
Yes.
My first thought was, and we started to practice implementing this. And this goes to my belief of what a good mom is. A good mom gets her kids up, feeds them breakfast, makes sure they're XYZ, and out the door, driven to the bus on time. What if I could rewrite that version of what a good mom is? Maybe at this point, and this is what's coming to my brain, my 12-year-old, maybe he needs to get his own butt up out of bed and into the shower and feed himself and do all these things while I stand there and go, you're doing a great job. You're going to be great at the rest of your life. Meanwhile, I'm exercising and showering and doing my meditation and managing my Duolingo and whatever else happens. That's so great. And it's something, and it's validating because that's something that we started this week by setting their alarms. And now I have to support the process to do it, which might make a time change for me, right? It might put off getting into whatever my normal routine will be, but it all just came so clear to me.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's the changes, they need to be empowered into their independence, which gives me my independence.
Exactly. It's a different agreement, right? It's a different, it's like, okay, you have this one agreement, and maybe this opportunity right here that's coming, this change is saying you can still have the spirit of the agreement, but have a totally different agreement.
Yeah.
And the spirit of the agreement is, how can I make you as my child independent on your own? How can I support you in having the best life possible?
While still knowing that I'm loving and caring for and nurturing in the way that feels most right to me.
Absolutely.
But also liberating myself. Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And this is the power, y'all. I knew this. We already started doing it, but I still had the question. And I've just been affirmed that I was looking at it just as I'm changed. My schedule is changing and what I have to do, but they are changing. They also have to grow into this new way of being. Yeah. Because we're all being called to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely. It's awesome.
Tell me more about the card.
Okay.
Because it's really pretty.
It is a really pretty card, right? So there's so much to this card, and there's so much to all the cards. But one of the parts is, you see the Sphinx here, right? The Sphinx is up and above the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is constantly changing. And the Sphinx has said the wisdom is that you don't get yourself mixed up in all of these changes. You pull yourself into a place of calm and balance. And one of the ways to do that is to continuously reconnect with your inspiration, right? That just naturally lifts you above, right? So what's your inspiration? You want your children to be happy. You want your children to be independent. You want them to be really
healthy, independent.
Exactly. And you also know that being overly mothering, right? Taking care of too much is actually working against that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a different role for you, right? But still in the spirit of, let me help you get into the life that you want to have as my child. Let me help you do that, right? And that is the inspiration that helps to lift you above the fact that all of this is changing. You just keep grounded in the, what's my inspiration? Where is it that I can come to a calm place and say, you know what I'm doing here is coming from my heart. What I'm doing here is trying to keep myself calm. My own calm and balance will raise their calm and balance. If you're so connected to your kids, right? Energetically, you're so connected to your partner. You're so connected to, we're all connected, basically. We're all connected anyway, but you have a really strong connection to your kids. So as you become more calm, more balanced, more harmonious, so as you live a life of more beauty and balance and order, right? Which would be doing your morning routines and making sure you keep yourself in a good mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, energetic way, right? You not only lift yourself up, but you lift your kids up automatically. They come with you. It's one of the first things you notice when you start doing this kind of work where you're looking more at the energy and a body, mind, soul approach, is that as you work on yourself, you bring up everything that's around you. The first thing I noticed, because I don't have kids, was my pets, my husband, and my plants. They all started doing really great. I was like, what's going on with these? But it's really what happens. Just my neighbors started doing better. Like, I just noticed that the people I was working with were doing, like, the people that were around me as I was lifting myself up and not overextending and not deciding to try and take on everybody else's problems. That is one of that I have to continuously remind myself of, is that I can't solve their problem. I can lead you to water. I can show you how to drink, but I can't do the rest of it for you. Right. So other parts of this card. So these four corners are the four aspects of what one of my spiritual teachers calls magic. But it's really the magic of bringing into your life what you want to have in your life. First, you have to know what it is that you want, right? And that sounds easy, right? But it's not as easy as everything. Right, exactly. So
we have so many conflicting desires and beliefs and stories about success and quality and grandiosity, and
exactly.
It's one of the hardest questions the people I work with have to answer, myself included. I mean, all of us, to find our purpose is complicated with all the, we talk about the noise a lot.
Yes.
But I believe, and I know you, but when we turn down the volume of all that noise and simply quiet into ourselves, what do you say? Pause or stop?
Yep.
Right?
Slow or stop. That's
Slow
it.
or stop.
Two speeds.
Right. And I'm all about the pause. So yeah, I agree with you. The hardest to learn can sometimes be the least complicated, but the least complicated question can be the hardest thing to learn.
Right. And knowing has to do with really an inner knowing, right? It's not looking outside for ideas. It's looking inside for what's the thing that feels right to me, right? And that, even when you feel it, is hard to follow, because outside of us, right? It's people are looking at you and saying, well, that's not logical. That doesn't make sense. That's too hard. That's too easy. Where are you getting this idea? Whatever it is, that inner knowing, right, that is connected to your own higher sense, right, your own higher guidance.
The Hierophant?
Yeah.
Hierophant?
The Hierophant. Exactly. Right. Exactly.
I'm learning. That's a card, friends, those of you listening.
I should go find
one or two ago, we pulled up the Hierophant, and it was the thing that connects us to our divine voice or energy, right? It's our
inner wisdom. Right? Yeah. It's that connection to our inner wisdom that knows everything. The inner wisdom that is connected to the very memory of our cells that goes back to when we were like in a swamp. You know what I mean? Like the level of knowing that it has something that we don't have a conscious ability unless we cultivate it, right? We won't notice that. So the first thing is you have to know, right? So first you have to know. Second, you have to will. Like, you might know, right? You might say, oh, this is the direction that I know is the right direction. It feels right? I have that feeling of, oh, this is the right way, not right versus wrong or good or bad, but just it feels right to my soul.
Aligned. It's clear. It's aligned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then if you don't have the will to do it, you won't do it, right? So you have to know it. You have to have the will to do it, right? You have to then dare to do it. This is a lion down here. So this is a man, this is an eagle, it's a lion. The lion is, you have to dare. Whatever you're doing, whatever it is, there's an element of risk. There's no way of avoiding risk in this material world. There is just not. You have to, if you want to do something, you have to dare to do it. You have to have the discipline to do it, right? You have to be able to get yourself up and out the door to do it. And then the last one is to be silent, right? In other words, to not talk about things with people who are not the right people to talk about them with. To not waste your time with people who are not aligned with you, because then you're suddenly going to go back and you're going to
do I know this? Is this true? Is this real? What's going on? Yeah.
That person, they seem like they know what they're, no. Going back to yourself.
That final one of choosing who you speak to, right? Choosing how you speak it to the world is so important in our lives today with the social media and everybody putting things out there. It's where you're going to invest your time and energy, right? Time is the non-renewable resource. Energy, we only have so much in a day. Yes, we can create more, but that takes time.
Yeah.
And I think that it's like confirmation bias almost, where I'm scared, I've done all that, but I don't know if I'm going to do it, but I'm going to talk to these kind of naysayers and they're going to talk me back down, right? They're going to confirm the belief that I have that I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. And that is so tragic, right? Because, they say the sum of your personality or whatever is defined by the 5 people you spend the most time with, or however that phrasing is. And it's true, right? If we're not having the conversation with people who are curious and inspired and willing to believe that things are possible, we're going to confirm the bias that we're not enough.
We're gonna get right back into that box, right? We're just
so
gonna go
important.
tick, 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 and that's an everyday practice. It's an every moment practice, because we run into all sorts of people, from policemen on the street to mailmen to friends to people who were friends at one point and now don't talk to. Who knows what, you go through everything, and you got to say, okay, is this the right person to share this with?
That's right.
Is this the place to bring my heart? Like, it's like you and the Chamber of Commerce. Is this the right place for me to present what I have to present?
That's right.
And you said yes, because it feels right on so many levels. Then that's it.
Yeah.
And and the cycle's going to keep going. It's going to keep going, because that's what it does, right? And you, through connecting with your inspiration and really connecting with these 4 things, connecting with what you know, connecting your will to what feels right to you, taking that chance and having the discipline, right?
Yep.
Having the discipline. I've taught yoga for many years. And there was a time that when people were sort of going in this way of saying, well, it doesn't matter if people don't come on time to class, and it doesn't matter if they leave early, and it does all of this sort of stuff. And I remember thinking, I didn't particularly like that, not because, it was disruptive to class, of course, but the issue is it takes a certain amount of discipline to follow the things that you love in your life.
Yeah.
If you don't have even that little bit of discipline to follow the things that you love in your life, you're not going to get them, because you got to actually get out of bed to do this next stuff.
That's
right. You're going to do something with your time. If it's going to be in bed all day, then okay. And I can totally understand that. And there are times that you need that. I'm not saying anything against that, but it does take a certain amount of discipline. And just getting to class on time, I'm like, that's just a practice. That's just a practice getting somewhere on time, because then things come to you on time, right? It's a cycle. What you put out also comes back to you. You put out, I'm always late. You put out, I'm not trustworthy to come on time when I say I'm coming on time. That's what's going to come back to you in the clients you have, in the people that you interact with, and the things that you want in your life.
This is so helpful. This is so great. I think it's so important, and I really appreciate the story about showing up on time and making that choice. for me, like as a teacher, yes, it's disruptive, but I don't care what you do with your life, with your time. But if you're going to do something, do it. Right.
Yes.
And I'm not saying 100% to, perfection, right? But if you're going to go to yoga, don't show up 15 minutes late, because you're not going to get the full experience, which means you're not going to have the value at the end, which means you're not going to want to do it again next time.
Exactly. Exactly. And you're going to wonder why it is that everybody else is getting something out of yoga and you're just not getting,
Right.
it didn't work for you. I'm like, okay,
Right.
maybe you didn't really give it that chance.
But did you really try?
Yeah. Did you really actually show up and give yourself over to it? And like I've been reading this book by a man named Sadhguru, who I like a lot. And it's called Karma. And one of the things he talks about is just this whole idea of becoming involved in the world without becoming entangled in it. Right.
Mm-hmm. I'm letting my dog out, so bear with me.
Get into the world and go out and do stuff, but don't get entangled. Don't get caught up in trying to make things the way that you want them to be, right?
And that's a big thing that I've been working on through my life and in the work that I'm doing, because there's this desire to control and be perfect. And, there's my desire that I've lived with. And what's so interesting about this, and again, like as a coach, I coach people in this stuff, but look at how helpful this is to me to have the reflection and the perspective, because in any situation, in any moment, I only have what I have right now. I can't bank on the future. I can't, blame the past. What am I going to do with it? What are my resources? What's my desired outcome? For me, my desired outcome is to have time in the morning that I own, that is mine. And I'm not like, 10 more minutes, 5 more minutes, and for me, that regulates my nervous system, that regulates my breathing, that sets my pace, and it's a game changer. So if that's the desired outcome, how do I get there? And I have these incredible, brilliant, beautiful young humans who can make their own brownies, can make their own. Why aren't I making them grow into the next phase of themselves, which is getting themselves up, and they can do it.
Yeah, they can do it.
But if I continue to do it for them, we're both going to suffer.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
And,
it's just that time. The time has come. And you have that discomfort of you saying, I don't want to give this up anyway. Yeah. That is the flag that says time for a change, time for things. And you have taken it, and you're moving perfectly with it. You're like, doesn't feel right. I'm not going to take it. Right. I know that this is not the right thing. So what is it? You just wait and you let it come through to you. Right. And like one of the things one of my teachers often says is, if you don't know what to do, just wait and just wait, because love is going to show up and show you the direction. Right. But if you just go banging straight ahead, who knows what you're doing? Who knows?
Well, and it's right. I end up, heightened, angry, frustrated, not exercise, not doing all the things, not on time, and not building a strong relationship with my children where they are the authors of their life and I'm supporting it, this is probably a great learning opportunity for all the other things that will come in the teen years, and how to slowly step back and do it for both of us. And now, listen, friends, I'm not going to tomorrow be like, you guys are on your own, good luck, right? It's observe, it's gather data, it's try. That didn't work, try again. So it might take me a little while to finally find the flow and the rhythm, but it's the important thing to me is that I was able to become aware that there was something on that wheel moving, that I can adjust with it, but it will look different. And I mean, this is something I work with all the time with my clients, but putting this boundary in is not abrasive. It's not rude. It's not selfish. It is liberation for both parties.
Yep. Again, right? And connecting back with the inspiration. Yeah. Connecting back with the inspiration. That's exactly it. Exactly it. Bring your own self into calm, harmony, beauty, balance, and order, and everything around you will start coming out of its own chaos. Right? There are more chaotic situations and more chaotic places, than others. So, but the biggest thing is for you not to add to that chaos. And one of the ways to do that is to keep yourself balanced and keep yourself connected to whatever that inspiration is that has you in that place at that time.
This is great.
It is awesome.
This is great. This is just great. And I'm proud of myself for like coming with the intention and being honest about it and being open. And all I want is for people are like, what kind of clients are you looking for? And I'm like, people who are a little frustrated with something and just need to kind of work it out.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't want to be frustrated. I don't want other people to be frustrated. But it takes that perspective. And I'm really grateful that you and I have agreed in our agreement to share this space and explore these thoughts together. Because I truly take so much out of it.
Yeah, me too.
I love that I get to pour into it. And I love that we get to give people this insight and this conversation to do with it as they will. Because with all the things I want to do, I want to empower the individual to be their best self and go out and change their world for the better. And you're just such a beautiful ally in that. So I thank you.
You are too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much as well.
Yeah.
The wheel doesn't stop turning. So you're going to get frustrated again.
Yep.
Right? It's going to be at a higher level or a deeper level or some other way, but don't think that it's an end. You don't ever have an end of this. You know, it's constantly, there's always something, right? Now, as you get better and better at staying in your own harmony, the triggers, you know how to deal with them better.
Yeah.
But they're going to keep coming. Doesn't matter. They're going to keep coming, right?
And it's so true. And I would like to underscore that, you know, being a coach, being a mindset, being a healer, right? It does not mean we don't encounter frustrations.
No.
For me, it's that now when I have this frustration after 5 days of being in school, I'm putting it on the table. I'm talking about it. I'm going to people I know, love, and trust who can give me that correct feedback to help me move forward. Whereas I probably would have waited till October, a couple of years ago, and just lived in frustration, thinking I'm being the best mom ever. Arg.
Right. Why isn't everybody appreciating me?
Yes, right. And it's, why doesn't everyone love that I've sacrificed my happiness and my morning routine so that I can get their butts out of bed?
Don't do it.
When you put it like that, it seems so silly. But it's what we do. And I think a lot of people are doing that. So I very much thank you. This was a really good conversation for me.
It was. Yeah.
And I appreciate that. So we are here pretty much every other Tuesday at 1:15. This is the live Joy of Tarot, created for you because the two of us are so aligned and so inspired by one another. Exactly. That we just want to keep sharing this conversation. So Lisa Tancredi at the Feel Better Group, she is amazing. She is divine. She is dynamic. I am Michaela at My Joy Coach, your boundaries and empowerment coach. And together we are the live Joy of Tarot.
Thank you
so
much. I love hearing all of the things that you have to say and how you say them. You look at it, it's just such a that's a great way of thinking of that. Oh, I gotta write that down. So I just have to say, thank you.
And I so much appreciate that because it's affirming, right? Because we just do our things and we're just living our lives, and it's nice to have that reflection. But I so appreciate the sharing of the same ideas because we've lost the art of brainstorming.
Yes.
I think, by and large as a culture, I was talking with this incredible woman, Catherine Landis, on a recent podcast, and we're talking about brainstorming, and we don't have enough imagination. So, where I live in my lane with whatever elevated thoughts I have, to bring a partner in who shares an elevated space. Gosh, just what else is possible? How else can we see this world?
Exactly.
So I thank you. This is like my little creative brainstorming, give away the goods anytime we can group. So
me too.
Well, welcome home.
I will see you.
Hope that you get healthy and super cleared up.
I know.
2 weeks from now.
All right. We'll see you.
But until then, stay fabulous, Lisa. Thank you.
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye.